Hey guys, welcome back. How are you? Hope you're healthy and prosperous. Wishing you a long life and everlasting happiness. Now, to keep you entertained, or maybe while waiting for your partner to come home. This time, we're going to discuss the latest Korean horror film. You probably already know it. The movie is titled Dark Nuns and was released in 2024. But before we continue, make sure your headset is on properly, so you can fully experience the atmosphere. The movie starts with a scene featuring a pastor. He is dealing with a possessed teenager named Hee-Joon. Exorcising an evil spirit from someone's body is no easy task. It requires not just courage and skill, but also strong faith to resist the devil's temptations. In the pastor's moment of struggle, Junia arrives. A nun. Although not yet officially a nun, she decides to help. Without many words, Junia enters the room carrying holy water. She pours it over Hee-Joon, who is tied to a chair. After that, she begins interrogating the evil spirit possessing Hee-Joon. Meanwhile, the pastor is trapped by a dagger embedded in the wall. Junia asks the assistant pastor to prepare the final ritual. The dagger cannot be removed until the exorcism is performed. Prayers begin to be recited. The bells start ringing. At that moment, the evil spirit inside Hee-Joon reacts. The demon starts to intimidate Junia, threatening her with a gruesome death. It claims that one day the world will burn, alive, cursing God. The demon assures that this fate is inevitable, but with calmness and unwavering faith, Junia finally expels the demon. However, the story is far from over. As the evil spirit may return to possess Hee-Joon, the scene then shifts to a hospital where Hee-Joon is now being treated. This hospital is directly managed by the church, with nurses and doctors who also serve as priests. Likewise, the nuns also serve as nurses. Here, we are introduced to Hee-Joon's mother and another nun named Michaela. Michaela informs that Hee-Joon will be treated by Paolo, a doctor who is also a priest. Given that Hee-Joon's condition is not just an ordinary illness, he requires special care. However, Paolo, despite being a priest, does not believe in exorcism rituals. To him, it seems illogical that someone could be healed solely through such a ritual. For Paolo, all illnesses must be treated medically, not with unexplained methods. He also assured Hee-Joon's mother that her son would recover with medical treatment. Meanwhile, Junia met with church leaders and asked the bishop to perform an exorcism on Hee-Joon before the demon took full control of his body. However, almost all the bishops there disagreed with Junia's suggestion. Not without reason, the church knew that obtaining official permission from the Vatican was extremely difficult. As we know, in Christianity, not just anyone can perform an exorcism. Junia firmly stated that the current issue was that Hee-Joon needed immediate treatment before his condition worsened. Junia didn't stop there. She also met Pastor Paolo, who was now in charge of Hee-Joon. She persuaded Paolo to perform an exorcism on Hee-Joon. However, even though Paolo was a priest, he still did not believe in exorcism rituals. To him, what was happening to Hee-Joon was merely a mental disorder that needed medical treatment. Junia emphasized that this was precisely how demons worked, by attacking a person's mind. However, Paolo still disagreed with Junia's advice. Elsewhere, Hee-Joon's mother received a phone call from an unknown person. From the phone conversation, it was clear that she was being asked to pay a debt. The caller threatened that if Hee-Joon's mother did not pay soon, legal action would be taken. Besides the threats, the caller also insulted her with harsh words. Amid her struggle for her son's recovery, more problems kept coming. Hee-Joon's mother looked at her son, still lying in bed. Then her eyes fell on the cross, as if silently asking, "What suffering has God given me?" Moments later, the hospital was shocked by the news of Hee-Joon's mother's death after she was found to have fallen from an upper floor. Junia, who was at the scene, watched as Hee-Joon's mother's body was evacuated. But after that, she began hearing whispers from evil spirits, indicating that this was no mere coincidence. It turned out that Junia wasn't the only one hearing those whispers. Michaela felt the same thing. From that moment on, Junia started getting closer to Michaela and frequently engaged her in conversation. Junia then revealed that she had the ability to hear whispers from spirits. She had this ability since childhood when her right ear could not hear normally. Her right ear could only hear beings from the supernatural world. Junia believed that Michaela also had the same ability. They both have the same goal, that is to save Hee-Joon. Michaela finally agrees that the exorcism ritual for Hee-Joon must be carried out immediately before everything gets worse, due to the tragedy that befell Hee-Joon's mother. Due to the tragedy that befell Hee-Joon's mother, it is clear that it was merely a distraction from the demon. Because of that, Junia invites Michaela to cooperate. If the church does not take action, then they both have to take Hee-Joon out of the hospital and make him someone who can help with the exorcism. If left for too long, Hee-Joon's condition will become increasingly dangerous. To himself, a little background on Michaela's life. Before becoming a nun, Michaela was born to parents who followed a cult. She also had an older sister. However, their family life was never harmonious, until one day, a great great tragedy occurred. Her sister was found dead by suicide. Long story short, notes the two of them then took Hee-Joon away from the hospital. Junia took Hee-Joon to Hee-Won's house, a shaman who usually performed exorcism rituals. Hee-Won was once a nun. However, she changed professions to become a shaman. Junia convinced Michaela that Hee-Won was someone very experienced in this matter, and she was confident that Hee-Won could expel the demon from Hee-Joon's body. Upon arriving there, they were greeted by Adong, Hee-Won's apprentice. After explaining Hee-Joon's condition, they began the ritual, which was led directly by Hee-Won, although it was strange that a religious leader would choose to trust a shaman in matters of exorcism. They proceeded with the ritual. Shortly after the ritual began, the evil spirit in Hee-Joon's body started reacting. Unfortunately, the demon's power was too strong, to the point that they were all thrown back. The treatment completely failed, and they were forced to take Hee-Joon back to the hospital. Knowing what Michaela had done, Pastor Paolo, as the person in charge, was understandably furious and disappointed in her. Michaela, as a nun, should not have taken Hee-Joon to a shaman. That was equivalent to blasphemy. However, ever since Michaela got involved with Junia to save Hee-Joon, she often experienced strange disturbances and unusual auditory sensations. It all started when she met one of the patients in the hospital, who approached her and thanked her. But in reality, that patient had already passed away sometime earlier. Michaela then went to Junia and informed her that Pastor Paolo had now taken Hee-Joon to a secluded monastery for treatment, a place that was isolated, quiet, and very eerie. There, Pastor Paolo finally realized that what was happening to Hee-Joon was not just an ordinary illness, but that a demon had possessed his body. The evil spirit possessing Hee-Joon's body began to incite and provoke them all by revealing the shameful secrets of their lives. Of course, this was part of the demon's attack, attempting to intimidate and provoke their emotions, until finally, Pastor Paolo appeared to lose consciousness. He began acting strangely. Junia performed a preventive ritual again to stop the demon's attack. The wooden cross could be seen swinging on its own, and right beneath it was Hee-Joon. It seemed the demon intended to take Hee-Joon's life. However, fortunately, Junia quickly saved Hee-Joon from being crushed by the falling cross. However, the evil spirit inside Hee-Joon's body attacked Junia again. The demon's rampage could still be stopped. Michaela poured holy water onto Hee-Joon's body. Amid the increasingly uncertain situation, the church seemed to turn a blind eye to what was happening to Hee-Joon. Meanwhile, Junia felt more pressured. Unable to do much to heal Hee-Joon, she became desperate to study exorcism more deeply, although Junia had not yet become a full-fledged nun because she had not pledged herself to the church. She had knowledge of exorcism that she learned from Pastor Kim. One of the key aspects of an exorcism ritual is knowing the name of the demon possessing the victim's body. Junia combined her knowledge of exorcism learned in the church with the teachings of Hee-Won, the shaman. Junia knew that the demon's power inside Hee-Joon's body would reach its peak at midnight. If that happened, the demon would fully take over Hee-Joon's body. Therefore, before that could happen, the exorcism had to be performed immediately. Junia returned to the church, pleading with the clergy to perform an exorcism on Hee-Joon immediately. His condition was becoming increasingly alarming. However, the church had already decided to proceed with the ritual. Surprisingly, the exorcism was to be conducted by Pastor Paolo himself. The church believed that Pastor Paolo was a devout and righteous figure, as well as highly professional. With this in mind, they were convinced he was the right person to handle Hee-Joon's case. The church would also provide Pastor Paolo with a sacred relic. This relic was believed to help combat the demon possessing Hee-Joon's body. After all, Pastor Paolo was not someone who usually dealt with possessions. Nevertheless, the decision had been made by the church. Junia had to abide by the rules set in place. The church's decision to entrust Pastor Paolo with the exorcism seemed like a grave mistake. However, Junia was too obsessed with saving Hee-Joon. Even without the church's approval, she decided to proceed with her plan. Junia and Michaela brought Hee-Joon back from the hospital. They went to an abandoned warehouse. That was the place they chose for the exorcism. Unconscious, Hee-Joon was tied to a bed. Junia and Michaela prepared their ritual. Junia began reciting prayers and sprinkling salt around the bed where Hee-Joon was tied. Michaela, though hesitant, followed Junia's instructions. They knew their experience was limited in handling such situations. However, they pressed on. There was tension in the air, but they knew this was the only way to save Hee-Joon. Suddenly, they heard someone approaching. It was Pastor Paolo. Since the incident at the monastery, Pastor Paolo realized how powerful the demon possessing Hee-Joon was. He knew this was no simple matter and could not be taken lightly. Pastor Paolo felt he could no longer be reckless in performing the exorcism. Therefore, he came to hand over a relic to be used in the ritual. Firmly, Pastor Paolo handed the relic to Junia. He stated that he was entrusting this ritual to her. He also explained why the church had previously denied her permission. The church had denied Junia because she was a woman. Since ancient times, no exorcism had ever been led by a woman. However, Pastor Paolo was convinced that Junia was the right person for the job. Before the ritual began, Pastor Paolo asked Junia to do one thing. He baptized her, officially declaring her as a full-fledged nun. With this baptism, Junia formally received the authority to lead the exorcism. Though uncertain, Junia felt this was a turning point in her journey. Now she was no longer just an ordinary woman, but a nun with the church's approval. Though unconventional, Junia took a deep breath, ready to face the demon they would battle. The ritual began, and soon, the evil spirit inside Hee-Joon started reacting. The atmosphere around them changed drastically. The demon finally revealed its presence. Once again, it tried to corrupt the world and expose past sins. The demon's verbal attacks nearly broke them. However, they fought hard to maintain control and not fall into its trap. Junia fought back. She forced the demon to state its name. A long dialogue ensued between them. This was not just a physical battle, but also a battle of words. The demon tried to tear Junia's mind apart while she remained focused, recalling everything she had learned. As the situation became more difficult, they were on the verge of giving up. Suddenly, Adong arrived to help. Adong, a student of Hyo-won, had a special ability to fight demons. With courage and skill, Adong attempts to perform a ritual to banish the demon's power. Michaela, unwilling to stand by, quickly pours holy water on Hee-Joon's body to weaken the demon. However, even as the demon weakens, many obstacles still remain. The world refocuses on continuing the exorcism ritual, taking the scarf commonly used for banishing evil spirits and beginning to recite prayers. They place the relic into the demon's mouth. However, the demon is too strong. By any means, the demon refuses to leave Hee-Joon's body. With growing determination, Junia approaches the demon and says, "I will imprison you within my body." The world continues to pray, pleading for God's help to free Hee-Joon and put an end to this evil. Suddenly, something terrifying happens. Fire starts engulfing the place, creating absolute chaos. However, despite the growing flames, the situation is not yet under control. Junia asks Michaela and Adong to take Hee-Joon to the church immediately before the demon possesses him again. Once at the church, they must ring the bell 3 times as a sign of salvation. Junia stays behind, trying to keep the demon from returning to Hee-Joon's body. At first, Michaela does not want to leave Junia alone. However, it is eventually revealed that Junia has intentionally let the evil spirit enter her own body. Junia knows that the only way to save Hee-Joon is by sacrificing her. She uses the relic, pressing it against her abdomen to prevent the evil spirit from completely taking over her body. Michaela and Adong struggle to get Hee-Joon to the church. Their journey is filled with obstacles, but they do not give up. With great effort, they finally manage to ring the church bell 3 times. Hee-Joon is finally saved and freed from the demon's influence. Meanwhile, Junia returns to the warehouse, now engulfed in flames. There, she removes the relic and allows the demon to possess her before it is too late. In a great act of sacrifice, she sets her own body ablaze in the raging fire. In this way, the demon is destroyed along with Junia's burning body. And so, the film comes to an end. Okay guys, that's the storyline of the movie. I hope this was entertaining and could accompany your free time.